Let's talk about porting mortgages.
How do you
Actually,
remember that? That's number 2. You're a pretty
I,
sharp guy.
I yeah, let's talk about porting mortgages. I mean, I know, I guess the basics of it, but why don't you give me a little bit of a rundown of how to port a mortgage, how somebody can port a mortgage, how they'd be able to qualify for one, if possible.
What is porting a mortgage?
Yeah, let's start with that. Yeah, what is porting a
Porting
mortgage?
a mortgage is what it sounds. You're moving your mortgage from one property to the next. So a lot of people who bought their house in the years of 2020, 21, 2022 got very low interest rates, less than 3% in many cases. And some of them got 5-year fixed. Some even got a 10-year fixed. And if you're selling your house and you have 3-4 years left on your mortgage locked in at 2%, you don't want to have to get a new mortgage at 6 or 7%. You want to keep your existing low rate and transfer it to the new property. That's why when you get a mortgage, you have to make sure it has a portability clause, because some lenders and some products restrict your porting options. And they'll make you, not only will you not be able to port it, but you have to pay a penalty to break your mortgage. So long-winded answer, but long story short, porting a mortgage, when you're selling your home, buying a new home, you're transferring your existing mortgage, your terms, your payments to the new property. You will have to requalify.
Okay, and what does that entail?
Same requalification. That requalification is the same as if you're buying a brand new house. You have to show your income documents. So if you're an employee, I want to see pay stubs. I need to see a job letter. I need to see your last 2 years of T4 slips. I might even call your employer and make sure you're still working there to make sure you're having enough income that in the bank size, you're able to service that debt, because they don't want to approve a mortgage if you're not.
Yeah, no, of course. But you talked a little bit about some lenders allow you to do it, some don't. So I did kind of look into that a bit. So when we're talking about, let's say you have a mortgage with TD, for example, okay, and you're able to port it, right? And you go and buy a new property and you get requalified, again, with TD, or can you go with another bank?
If you're porting your mortgage, you have to stay with the same lender.
Stay with the same one. Really? Yes. You can't port from what if you're on a B lender and you want to go to an A lender? Like you can now requalify into an A lender.
You can refinance. You can get a brand new, sorry, not refinance. You can get a brand new mortgage. You can switch lenders. But if you want to get the same low rate that you have right now, the only bank that's going to have an obligation to give you that rate is the bank who gave you the mortgage.
Right.
No, CIBC wouldn't be dumb enough to give you a 2% rate when you have, when they're giving out 6% rates. Okay, they would be losing money.
Right. So now what happens in the requalification process if you fail and you can't requalify?
I just had a case like that. It was an older couple who was with CIBC and they had some pension income, some part-time income. Long story short, they had a low rate, but CIBC would not approve them for the port. And the realtor who called me, he already sold their house. He called me a little bit late. In a situation like this, you want to call your bank ahead of time to make sure you're not scrambling to find a solution. So in those cases where you can't qualify for a port, you call your mortgage agent, your mortgage broker, and you see what current market options are available. And if you can't qualify for one bank, then other banks might be an option. Or we can look at what we call the B side, the alternative lending side, which will allow you to borrow a little bit more. Worst case scenario, you might have to go with a private or